Hey everyone, uh, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to be covering some of the stuff that I read during August of 2022. I'm going to format this video where I'm going to do library reads first, and I'm going to start with series that I completed, move into series that I'm continuing, and then go into series that I have just started. And then from there I will move into the stuff that I own and go the same way, continue, finished, continue, started. So to start off with, I finished the big one, 20th Century Boys by Naoki Urasawa. My library does not have 21st Century Boys, so I'm still on the hunt for that. These are the final 3 perfect editions put out by Viz. I really love these perfect editions, even though I'm not usually a huge fan of omnibus, but I do think these are really great. They definitely withstood the library better than some single editions that I've seen do. They do have French flaps on all of these. I can flip this open here. All these volumes have French flaps, but because they are library copies, they do get taped down so that they don't get ripped. They have these, like, this single page in the front that's like a coated stock, but there's no color pages through the volume, which I don't know if the original had any color pages or not, but yeah. And here you can see there's only the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th person to borrow this, so got them in great condition. I can't say too much because these are like the final leg of this story, but while I enjoyed 20th Century Boys, and I think it's probably one of the like craziest mysteries that I've ever read, I enjoyed Monster much more. I think the finale for Monster was much more concise. It was just, I feel like the storytelling in Monster was just stronger. And that's not, not to say 20th Century Boys is bad, but of the Urasawa works that I have read, 20th Century Boys is definitely below Monster, kind of a bit. While I enjoy all the characters in here a lot, like, I don't know, just Monster was such a ride from beginning to end that I think if you are going to pick one Urasawa work to own, I would choose Monster. I borrowed both Monster and 20th Century Boys from my library, so that was a great, great that they have these available. So yeah, that was 20th Century Boys. Very happy to have finished that. Next up is going to be a series that I borrowed and finished in this one go, and that's going to be Blank Canvas by Akiko Higashimura. I thought my library didn't have this initially because I saw this is the mangaka of Princess Jellyfish and Tokyo Tarareba Girls. I thought they didn't have this, but I found out that it was in the biography section, not in the YA graphic novel section, which I thought was a little weird, but I mean, I get it, because Blank Canvas, My So-Called Artist Journey, is Akiko Higashimura kind of looking back on her life as an artist, like where she started from. It talks about her experience, kind of her young life, for a bit in volume 1, and then it goes into her going through high school, meeting her sensei, who was a huge influence on her life, all the way through modern day. Like, she kind of interjects through the story little snippets of how she goes through and experiences her career now as a full-time mangaka. This is, I'm probably cried at least once per volume, or at least like felt very touched at least once per volume. And at 5 volumes, this series is just an absolute must read. I absolutely think anybody should read this who has experienced just life. Like, the way she describes, she kind of has that gifted kid burnout that she describes in volume 1, all the way through what it can be like being that gifted kid who gets into a college and then doesn't really do much. And for me personally, that really hit a lot of notes, along with her relationship with her art teacher that she got during high school. I also had a couple art teachers who had bits and pieces of the way that she portrayed and described her sensei. So the series really touched me, and I think anyone can get something from this. It is a josei, so, if you want to expand your horizons and read a josei that's a little bit more, like a more down-to-earth experience, this is, like I said, an autobiography of sorts, but also a memoir of her teacher. But yeah, Blank Canvas, My So-Called Artist Journey by Akiko Higashimura. This is put out by Seven Seas, and they are oversized volumes. Okay, and that's going to be it for... Oh, actually, there is one more, and that I finished from the library, and that is because it is a one-shot. And that is Love on the Other Side, a Nagabe short story collection. Nagabe is the artist and writer for Girl from the Other Side. And he does a couple... This is his second short story collection we've gotten in English. Again, another Seven Seas release. And I only noticed this because I own his other short story collection, which is The Wise, Wise Beasts of the Wizarding Wisdoms. And just to show you guys, kind of fun little detail, they did keep that side detailing the same. I'm guessing because it is the same artist. But Love on the Other Side, I will say this is probably on the bottom of the Nagabe stories that I've read. This does kind of show Nagabe's tastes a little bit more. The man and the wolf girl, he's kind of raising a young girl, and they do get married. The White King, it is a love story between a lion and a young boy, which, for me personally, I'm not too, about that stuff, but just, for me, the storytelling in this was not as strong as, say, Wise Wise Beasts of the Wizarding Wisdoms, or as strong as Girl from the Other Side, which is the long-form story that we got in English from him. Again, Nagabe's art is always just beautiful, though, so if anything, the art is worth it. But yeah, so the Love on the Other Side, this is another library borrowing, and another oversized from Seven Seas. Ooh, sorry for that. Okay, and then next we're going to move on to stories that I've been continuing. And I have actually gotten current on Witch Hat Atelier by Kamome Shahama. I had such a great time with these volumes. Also, just look at these covers. Her art is just absolutely stunning. But yeah, so here we see from volume 7 they get this weird Will Eisner winner stamp on it, which I don't know. I get that they want to tell people that they won an award, but I just think it's really ugly. I wish there was a way to get the volumes without that, but these are library copies, so I can't complain too much. But this is put out by Kodansha. in English, and they are oversized volumes. Can't say too much about the story because this is getting pretty into it, since a lot does get covered in each volume. But the world that Shirahama keeps building on, the magic system, it's just phenomenal. Like, it's nothing you haven't heard from other people before. Her art, the paneling, the storytelling, it's just chef kiss. Absolutely something that I recommend anybody pick up. This does fall under the seinen demographic, so it is for a little bit of an older audience. There is, like, there's dark tones throughout the whole thing. I mean, the story starts with basically the accidental, like, almost murder of someone, so keep that in mind. There are quite dark tones, and actually, I can try to find that in volume 9. In volume 9, there was something that I had never seen before, but I think would be wonderful for publishers to include moving forward. Where is it? Because a lot of times you see content creators online talk about... Sorry for the cut there. I actually lost the audio for this upcoming clip, so please bear with me as I'm attempting to remember what I recorded like 4 days ago. But like I was saying, in book 9, there was something I'd never seen before, which was actually a content warning before a chapter. So it's something like a trigger warning regarding discussion of sexual assault of a character. Something that I thought was very interesting was the fact that this content warning said that it wouldn't disrupt the understanding of the main plot, which up until volume 9, that is very true. However, the series is ongoing, and the way that the mangaka writes the world, I can't see her including something like that without it being something that may get brought up later. But that's for future kodansha to worry about. I just thought it was an interesting inclusion to include that language as part of the warning. What did I read next? Was it Yona? It was Yona. I read Yona of the Dawn volumes 7 through 10. This part of the series is where stuff really starts like powering forward. We see Yona really coming into herself and her abilities as a leader. Volume 7 and 8 kind of covers the end of the pirate arc. And I can't say too much more because, at volume 10 we are a little bit under about a quarter of the way through where we have this series in English now. And I don't want to, cover too much of the story and give too much away because there is a lot that our characters go through. But I will say that volume 8 or 9 is where we see the final dragon join our group. And like I said previously in a previous vlog, it's interesting to me that so much happens so early. I do think Mizuho Kusanagi probably thought this series was going to get canceled a lot sooner than now. So it probably was meant to end sooner, but she's been doing a great job. But anyway, volume 8, we do see a little bit more of Suwon, and he does kind of like expand. We do see an expanse of his character beyond like, oh, I'm the evil guy who killed your dad. Which sometimes you see in even long-running series where characters tend to be pretty one-dimensional. So it's nice that we're getting a little bit more growth to his character and not just Yona and like the quote-unquote good guys of the story. And then, yeah, these are standard Viz editions in the smaller size. What else did I read? Oh boy. Oh yeah, A Man and His Cat, Volume 2 by Umi Sakurai. I love this series so much. Fukumaru is the bestest little boy, and Sakurai just captures the magic of owning a pet, specifically a cat, just like to a T. And there's moments through this series that just like really just touch your heart. And Volume 2 kind of also touches on the owner's loss of his wife. So if that's something that's a little triggering for you, just a heads up. Nothing is shown, but it is mentioned that his wife had, like, you know, it is kind of like a big part of the story where his wife has passed away. I own Volume 1 of this series, but being a Square Enix manga and also being very thin, it is very expensive, so I don't think I'll be picking it up for myself anymore, especially now that I know that my library has the series and is getting the series regularly. So yeah, but Volume 2, we still see some of like the more episodic stories, since I do believe at this point she was still only publishing on things like, I think, Pixiv and Instagram. And what did I read next? Yes, A Galaxy Next Door by Giro Amagakure. I really enjoyed this. I wanted to give it a shot, even though a few people were saying they had issues with the way that our characters were kind of, you know, tied together in a way. Our main girl is an alien and has a stinger, and she accidentally stings our main boy here. I don't have the books with me, unfortunately. I'm super blanking on everybody's names, but she accidentally stings him, and with her stinger, she binds them together because he needs to be her betrothed or something. Some people are saying it's like it's a consent problem, but they really like talk to each other and like go through things with each other throughout both of these volumes, and specifically in volume 2, we see them growing as a couple, as co-workers. We see especially our main girl like kind of growing into herself, having been so sheltered, especially from who she was in early volume 1 to where we see her become more comfortable with herself and her relationship with our main boy. And then Amagakure, I do trust with the storytelling because I did love their previous work with Sweetness and Lightning, and just how heartfelt that was. And then their art is also just so cute. Look how cute she is. But yeah, so that was volumes 1 and 2 of A Galaxy Next Door. I do think if you read volume 1 and you were a little turned off, just please give volume 2 a shot. If you don't like it after volume 2, that, you know, it's just not going to be for you, and that's fine. Was there anything else? No, there wasn't. I'll see you in the next clip. Sorry for the sudden cut there. It's been a few days, had some work stuff come up, then I had to do a bunch of other stuff, and now we're back with some of the reads that I was going to cover the last time I recorded. We're going to finish up the new reads that I got from the library with the smaller volumes. First one being Versailles of the Dead. So this one was extra fun for me because I have been reading, oh my god, the other Versailles one, the classic Rose of Versailles. There we go. So it was fun seeing how these like historical figures and characters were portrayed a little differently in here. Basically take France in this time period where, what time is this? The time of Marie Antoinette. I can't remember what it's called, but take that throw in some zombies and what have you, and have a roaring good time. I decided to pick this up because I saw that Seven Seas is finally going to be releasing Volume 3 of this later this year. Volume 2 came out in 2019 and then they just stopped, which was a little weird because it's only a 5-volume series. So to stop suddenly at Volume 2, it seemed like they maybe lost the license or they weren't going to finish publication. But I'm excited to see that we're going to be finishing this off and hopefully getting Volume 3 through 5 in the next coming months. But then here's the back. I will say, don't read the back if you want to avoid spoilers for the beginning of this, because it's already a big twist within like the first 20 pages. Then totally changing of gears, have Skip and Loafer by Misaki Takamatsu, volumes 1 through 3, another Seven Seas release. I actually didn't know until I got this from the library that this was Seven Seas. Actually, I'll be right back. I'm so sorry. Okay, and we're back. Sorry about that. We had someone come up to the door and I had to grab something. Anyway, but yeah, Skip and Loafer is really cute. School life rom-com, slice of life kind of thing. Saw a lot of people talking about it, and my library had it, and I was so stoked. When I got the notification that my hold for Volume 1 was coming in, I put in my request for 2 and 3, and they came right away. So I'm guessing they probably saw how popular Volume 1 was, and when they were ordering for Volumes 2 and 3, they put in the order for more and were able to get more volumes right off the bat. But yeah, so this was so darn cute. I love these two. We're gonna check out the back here. Mitsumi is bound for high school in Tokyo. She's got book smarts. This small town girl is about to find out she's massively unprepared for the social norms of big city high schoolers. And that kind of sets the stage for the story. She's from a small town. Nothing you haven't heard before. A girl from a small town moves to Tokyo, wants to check out everything, see the city, make her debut, and just totally flubs her debut. But boy here, whose name I am super blanking on. Is it on the back? No, Mitsumi again. And Mitsumi again. So sorry, what's your name? Oh no, what's your name? Oh no. Oh no. I don't remember. Anyway, but he basically saves her butt by wanting to be her friend. It's so cute. I will say there is a little bit of drama that's begun to happen, especially in Volume 3, to do with basically his childhood and his feelings surrounding his childhood and a friend of his, which we get introduced to, I think, either at the end of Volume 2 or sometime in Volume 3. But Mitsumi is just the sweetest girl, and I love her so much. The way that she's just really caring for everyone around her, and her aunt is also a fantastic character. There is something with the aunt that comes up in later volumes, and it just completely blindsided me, but not in a bad way. I was just like, oh wow, that's really cool. I'm not gonna say anything, but it is a very oh, that's amazing. But yeah, definitely if you are looking for something very sweet, very, very kind, the characters in Skip and Loafer, that's a good word for it. Everyone is very kind. There's a lot of thought that every character gives, from the classmates to the senpai to the aunt and Mitsumi's friend from the small town. Everyone's wonderful. Definitely give Skip and Loafer a chance if you're looking for shoujo. It is slow burn though. If you're looking for like immediate romance, that's not going to be it. And then we're going to move on to manga that I bought for my personal collection. These are going to be continuing series, and I'm not going to talk too much about this first one because we're getting pretty late and there's so much that happens in this volume. This is volume 7 of The King's Beast by Ray Toma, and oh my goodness, what a volume. So much happened. I need volume 8 like right now, not in November. Oh my god. And Ray Toma's art just continues to be just absolutely stunning. Let's take a look back here. And then just a little peek at the front. But oh, it's so good. Volume 6 was kind of losing me a little bit, not gonna lie. But volume 7 just like renewed my need for this series. Ugh. And then the next volume that I bought that's a continuing series is going to be Run on Your New Legs Volume 2 by Wataru Midori. In this volume, we see Kizato kind of learning how to use his new leg a little bit, meeting up with the doctor, running with the school track team, which this girl's a part of. And something that I really appreciated in this volume is we get to see things kind of from his mother's perspective. What it was like seeing her once bright and shining son go through this traumatic event and have to recover from it. What it's like seeing him finding light in life again. And it was a really great moment. And towards the end of this volume, I'm excited to see where this goes, especially because this is a completed series at 5 volumes. So I'm excited to see how the story progresses and where we go from here, because he is introduced, Kikuzatsu is introduced to the idea of the Special Olympics. So we'll see how that goes. And then we're going to move on to series that I started. Sorry, that the cat has zoomies, if you can hear that. New series that I picked up in the month of August. We're going to start with the big one that everybody's talking about. It's going to be Kowloon Generic Romance by Jun Mayuzuki. I loved Mayuzuki's work with After the Rain, and I think they draw the most beautiful women. So we have our main character here with Reiko Kujirai. She's so pretty. Everyone's so beautiful. I love Mayuzuki's art so much. And Kowloon is a walled city. It's like, like we kind of learn a little bit, but something really fun about this volume that Yen Press put out, they printed the back cover in here, or at least it's not the back cover, but it's a continuation of that wall. And they did put the color pages early on. There is a few color pages here. Yeah, so those first pages and then that one. And then on the back, they continue the wall decal printed on the interior. I love the characters in this so much. I had read the first chapter a few years ago. And then I kind of put it down and was like, maybe I'll wait for if it'll get an English release, and it did. So I am excited for this to continue because the twist at the end left me chomping at the bit. I need volume 2. I needed volume 2 as soon as I turned that final page. But Kowloon Generic Romance, definitely a wonderful first volume. Something that was like I picked up on a whim because I thought it sounded silly. And I'm like, maybe I'll give it one more just because it's kind of trashy. It's going to be I'm Not Meat by Ikaro Ito. This is a plastic wrapped ghost ship title. where our main character Kunio, he's like super handsome man, but he has a problem. Whenever he gets hit on by women, he sees them as a predatory animal, like an alligator or a hyena. And the scenes where these women are trying to hit on him are just the most awkward, hilarious things, because you just see this like alligator being like, "Hey, sweet thing, how's it going?" And while there's no actual sex, because he's like, "I want to wait for someone I'm in love with," there is a lot of like, "Oh, there's a like, look out for the bulgy wolgy in his pants" scenes. So while it's not like overtly like sex happening, it is very like sexual. And I do love when Seven Seas and Ghost Ship and all their other imprints, I love their covers because they do tend to add a little bit extra. This one has some embossing with the title here. But yeah, nothing particularly exciting. Oops, spicy. So it's not too bad. But yeah. So yeah, you kind of see like, "Oh my god, you're single?" It's really weird, but it was kind of fun. So I'll check out volume 2, see how it goes. But yeah, if you're looking for something trashy, kind of funny, I'm Not Meat would be a good pickup. Oh, and then they do something else about this one that I almost forgot to mention. They do talk about consent, because at one point some women are hitting on our main character and they're like basically undressing him in the office. And another girl comes in like, "You know that's sexual harassment, right?" And they're like, "Oh my god, we just got carried away." So I thought that was interesting that they included that, because a lot of like sexy, spicy manga kind of don't talk about that stuff a lot of the time. So especially if they're like seinen smut titles. So yeah, it was kind of interesting seeing that get talked about. Next one is going to be volume 1 of Kimono Jihen. This is by Sho Aimoto. This was a pretty highly anticipated shonen title, where it's like in a rural village, livestock's been dying off. Inugami is summoned, and he learns about Dora Tabo, a boy. It's a pretty like generic shonen setup, but I do really love the artwork that Sho Aimoto does. This is going to be the first manga I've read from them. And this is put out by Seven Seas. And I had a really good time with this first volume. Like it was a solid read, and set up like a good setup for the world that the story takes place in. So our main character here, we meet him, we learn a little bit more about him early on, and how the world has spirits and monsters basically living in the world. And it's the Monster Detective Agency. He gets brought onto the detective agency by Inugami the detective. And yeah, I'm excited to see where the story goes, and I'm hoping to pick up the next volume. This is going to be a try 3 series for me because it is fairly long. So I'm going to give it 3 to 5 volumes, see how I'm feeling about it. If I do really like it, I will continue buying it physically. If I'm like, it's okay, then I'll probably move to picking it up digitally. Next is going to be a what would you call this? Like a privately published manga? It's not really a manga, it's a privately published webcomic, but a lot of people have been like saying it's manga. But this is Vampire Blood Drive by Miro Angshua. I probably butchered your name, I'm so sorry. But basically we have a butch vampire and a sexy lady human, and we find out that she can only drink AB blood, which our sweet girl here has. And they meet at the annual blood drive at the college in town. And her name is Bunny. And it's just like kind of like short stories following them in their romance. It's very cute. You just I purchased this from Mira Ongchua's website here. It's the only place you can find it, but it was, you know, for something that's published by them, like small press style, it was very affordable. Even the shipping wasn't that pricey. It was just standard. I think I got it media mail or first class for US. But yeah, the art is super cute. It started as a webcomic, and there is some embossing for the cover, as you can see here. But yeah, I had a really, like, this was just really fun. In the back, there's a couple like color illustrations, bold color. They're mostly black and white with like some light shading. This is, I would say this is an 18 plus title. While there is no like super explicit sex, it is shown. And there is like a panty shot and stuff like that. So it is spicy, but it is a lot of fun. Definitely recommend for anybody who wants more girls love in their collection. Anybody who wants you know, a little bit more spice, or if you're looking to pick up more of these like small press author published titles, definitely Vampire Bloodline. And that's going to be it for the first leg of my reads for... Oh, actually, I almost forgot, because I did a totally separate video for these 3 volumes, which I will link in the cards. And that is going to be... Oh my gosh, please don't fall over. Ooh, that's going to be Ragna Crimson, volumes 1, 2, and 3. A lot of short story. Great read, lots of fun. If you want to hear more about my thoughts on it and the volumes themselves, I'll link in the cards up here, I think. But yeah, almost forgot those. Anyway, ooh, that was loud. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll see you guys in the next clip. Bye. Hey everyone. Gonna be going over some more reads from August 2022. And we're gonna start with the library reads. Did not finish any series this round of reads, but I did get almost current on The Man and His Cat. The library saw these on the shelf and had to pick them up because adorable. Last time I read volume 2, and this time I read volume 3. Volume 4. And volume 5. I have volume 6 on hold, well, on order hold. So once my branch gets it in, I'll be able to go pick it up. And the more I read this series, the more I just love it. There was a big hubbub that happened in this volume that left me almost in tears. If I had been more hydrated, it's been so hot. I had no tears left. But we get to meet more characters in these 3 volumes, and we see more of Mr. Kanda's past and learn more about his relationship with those around him, as well as his wife. And the storylines, I think this is about when the series got picked up for serialization, and you can tell because the storylines are a bit longer and it's less like short form comics, but I'm really enjoying the series a lot. It's really just like a good read if you want to like have feelings and not like stressed out feelings, but just like, you know, like good feelings. Except volume 5 had trigger warning for anyone who is worried, who gets scared about losing their pet. Since in one of these volumes, I believe it is volume 5, Fukumaru gets out of the house and is lost. So that was a little stressful, but it's resolved and we're all good. But yeah, Man His Cat, volume 3 to 5. But I will say, it's a little weird to me that all of the Man and His Cat, volume 1 through 4, has the number, and then volume 5 does not have the number on the spine. And from what I've seen, volume 6 continues and has the number on the spine. So I don't know what happened here. Anyway. Moving on from the oversized volumes, we're going to go into more Yona of the Dawn, volume 11, 12, 'This art's so good, 13, 14, and 15. So we get through the Fire Tribe arc basically in here, where we hit it comes to a head, and I just really am enjoying this series. I can't say too much because we are pretty far into it at 15 volumes. But yeah, no, I mean, everyone says it's good. It's good. I just want someone to tell Yona they like her because everyone's just beating around the bush. But I really do enjoy her dynamic with all the dragons, as well as we see in one of these volumes how Suwon probably got to where he is now. I'm gonna guess that he may not be the actual son of Yona's uncle. But I could eat my words later, but I feel like he's not actually his biological son. But we'll see. But yeah, Yona the Dawn, so good. And then starting new series from the library, Devils and Realist. This was a pickup because I thought the characters on the covers were pretty. And the little blurb back here kind of got me interested. It's like, after the failure of his uncle's business, the brilliant realist William Twinning finds himself penniless. To make matters worse, demons appear before him, insisting he has the power to appoint the next king of hell. The demons offered to pay his school tuition in exchange for his help. While his principles as a staunch realist prevent him from believing in them, how can William resist such a generous offer? So I looked into this. The series started about, I think it came out in the US in 2014. I don't know when it came out in Japan, but it really feels like somebody read Kuroshitsuji and was like, I like that idea. I will run with something similar. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting so far, even though I've only read the first 2 volumes. This is an older 7 Seas release. And I'm interested to see where it goes. It is finished. It is complete, I think, at 14 or 15 volumes. And my library has everything. So I'll probably keep picking it up, and hopefully it keeps being as good as these first 2 volumes were. It's like, it's not, I wouldn't say it's like good. That's being a little generous, but it is a lot of fun. And it's just kind of silly. It is set like Victorian-ish era. So yeah, I mean, basic like Fujo bait trash manga that's kind of fun. So yeah, pretty glad I picked it up on a whim. Okay, and that's actually it for library reads. It was a little bit of a slow week because it was hectic. And then we're gonna be going into series that I continued, that I own. I didn't finish anything, but continuing, this was a new arrival. I unboxed this recently as well. I linked that earlier in the cards, but I'll have it here again. This is Mad DK or Matic by Ryo Suzuri. This is a Sublime title, and it is rated M for mature, and it is very mature. Big trigger warnings all over this series. I really enjoy this. The art is absolutely stunning. Let me find a safe page. Okay. Here we go. It's very, like, Ryo Suzuri's art is something that I'm just so enamored with. The way that they draw monsters, the way they draw, like, action, comedy, it's so well done. They have another title coming out later this year in 2022, unless it gets delayed, from Seven Seas called Our Toros, Human Creature Love or something like that. And that is going to be a 2-in-1 omnibus of their more safe for work stories. It is published under a different pen name. Ryo Suzuri is their more like heavy BL titles. But this story follows Makoto as he, in volume 1, he summons a demon because he wants to fulfill his sexual desire to eat another person, and basically sells his soul for the ability to do that. The demon takes an interest in him and takes him down to hell, where he wants to turn him into a demon. And this is continuing that story and moving forward with that. There are big trigger warnings all over this for assault, all that jazz. But if you're okay with that kind of themes, I definitely recommend this. But if you think the art was pretty, maybe keep an eye out for Arturos. And then next is going to be a series that and then one more that I continued. Freerun Beyond Journey's End, Volume 5 by Kanehito Yamada with art by Tsukasa Abe. And this concludes the first trial that began in Volume 4. And I really enjoyed the introduction of these two characters because it also, these two characters here, and then it also showed how strong of a character Freerun is, because as many point out throughout this volume, Freerun and her pupil only use pretty much basic magic, because when Freerun was adventuring with the heroes, that's all that existed. None of these fancy new spells that everyone uses was around, so this kind of showcases how strong she is with even just like essentially the bare minimum. And like all the Freerun volumes, it's very dense. It took me, the typical manga volume takes me about 15 to 20 minutes to get through. This took me about half an hour. It's because there's a lot of dialogue, a lot going on. But the art is always so good in these. But the story in here and like there's a word I'm looking for. The strategies that the characters implement to achieve the goal of the exam that they take in this volume is so good. Oh yeah, Freerun Volume 5, definitely going to keep picking this up. And then this next one was kind of a blind pickup because I thought the front art was really pretty, and I read the back and I was like, ooh, spooky vampires. And then, you know, like, you can't really tell from these panels, but this is Momo the Bloodtaker by Akira Sugito. this is a new release by Seven Seas, and I cannot open it because there is lolly butt on the second page. I couldn't really tell from the front and like back images, but Momo falls into the trope of the 200-year-old vampire stuck in the 10-year-old's body, which isn't really like too big of a deal to me, but it was not what I was expecting. So just as a heads up before you go into this, there are some minor sexual scenes between her and our protagonist here, 37-year-old. So it's like she's an adult, but she's in the body of a 10-year-old. But anyway, I will say I did pick this up because it's one of the few stories I've seen where recently where vampires are actually creepy. Look at that. And the art's interesting enough. But pretty on the fence about this, especially after looking into it a little bit more. The series was dropped at 9 volumes, so it is technically complete, but the story itself was kind of, from what I understand, rushed towards the end because it was pretty unceremoniously like dropped from the magazine that it was being published in. So, kind of on the fence. We'll see. But yeah, I'm on with Bloodtaker Volume 1. And then, one of my ones that I was excited for, because I am a furry, yeah, was Ramen Wolf and Curry Tiger, with story and art by Boss. This is another Seven Seas release. Seven Seas is just killing it for me recently. They're doing so good. This is an older teen title, 15 plus. There's nothing like explicit in here. It comes like not plastic wrapped. It's a story about our Ramen Wolf and our Curry Tiger and their friendship as they go and taste different food around Japan. The world seems to be kind of like a mix. The heart's so cute. Yeah, there seems to be humans and like anthropomorphic characters. So there's not really like any, it doesn't appear to be any rules between like who can marry what, because Tora is mom and dad are a human and tiger couple from the like little screenshot, like the little like flashbacks we see. So yeah, I will say this was such a cute volume. And I'm excited for Volume 2, even though it's going to be quite a while between the release of Volume 1 and Volume 2. Right now, Volume 2 is scheduled for release. It looks like Quarter 1, 2023. So yeah. But anyway, I think that's probably going to be all I'm able to finish this month. So if you like what you saw, you like hearing about my thoughts, click subscribe, give it a like. If you have any thoughts about my thoughts, drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. Or let me know what you've been reading. Anyway, guys, it's going to be it for August 2022.